Hey everybody, and welcome to something very, very different. Many of you will know that I was away for a little bit last week at some event that I wasn't able to talk about until today, and that event was actually something that was thrown by 2K, where myself and some other YouTube-focused people, who I'll talk about as we get into the game, played a bunch of 2K games. We actually sat down with each of the games that we played for about 4 or 5 hours each, which is crazy. One of them that we played that I'm going to talk about today is Evolve, so this is going to be a full game. Let's look at, if you will, but I don't necessarily want to brand it as that, where I will actually be playing as the monster in Evolve, obviously, Turtle Rock Studios and 2K's upcoming asymmetrical multiplayer 4 versus 1 kind of game. And I'll talk a little bit more about it as we get going here. I'll also upload one game where I play as a hunter. I probably won't upload one where I play as every single class, but I did play as every single class over the course of the game. One thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk over the tutorial here. I'll tutorialize it, don't worry. You're in good hands, although I am pretty terrible at the game from what I played. Full disclosure, 2K paid for the trip to send us out there. They paid for the flights, they put us up in a hotel, and they took us out for a reasonably priced Mexican dinner. But do keep in mind that I'm not advocating necessarily a call to action one way or the other based on my impressions with the game so far. So don't necessarily consider this, or don't at all consider this like a paid shill or anything like that. It was nice of them to do it, to offer to send us out there, and it was actually really, really nice to be able to spend so much time with these games. Oftentimes, you know, if you go play a game like this at PAX, you end up spending 15, 20 minutes with it, and it's not really enough to get a huge vibe for how things are going, whereas, you know, being able to sit down with Evolve for 4 or 5 hours was crazy, and like really, really open press access, which was nice. You know, it had some dips and some bumps occasionally. There were crashes, but it ran relatively well for a game that's still 6 months away. It comes out in February, if I remember correctly. Depending on when the time you're watching this video, I don't know if maybe there's been some kind of date change. So I'm playing as Goliath. Your Goliath is the monster. If you are the monster in Evolve, your goal is to either kill everybody on the enemy team, kind of like Left 4 Dead, also made by Turtle Rock Studios. If you kill the other 4 hunters, then if they're all dead at the same time, you win. Apart from that, the way that you win is you get up to your maximum evolution. There's 3 evolutions that you can get in the game. Well, you can evolve twice, I should say, but you start at level 1. But you get to your maximum evolution, and you evolve by eating these NPC creatures, or AI creatures that you can see here, and then destroying like a power relay, which is basically like your overall objective. Kind of like, imagine in a tower defense game or something like that, it would be your big power generator at the end, or your Aegis, or your portal, or something like that. So as Goliath, we have a few different abilities here, but basically the way the structure of the game is going to work is the hunters have various different abilities. There's an assault, which is like a DPS class, a high damage class. A medic, which can res people, a support, which has, you know, various kind of like reconnaissance type stuff, and the trapper, which can throw down like an arena, which can trap the monster and use harpoon guns and stuff like that. They work together and they kind of spread out, and you can see them, they're outlined in red here. I'm using my smell ability to be able to see them, which I'm just doing by clicking the right analog stick down. They're trying to find us, and there's this sweet kind of like balance between like all out super like heavy high-duty monster gameplay. See, they threw down the trap there but didn't quite catch me in there. And stealth. So when you're playing as the monster, when you start out, you're relatively weak relative to the hunters, who don't actually get stronger as the game goes on. So you kind of want to play it almost a little bit Splinter Cell-y, if I do say so myself. You know how I like to bring up the Splinter Cell comparisons in games like this. There's the support down there, if you saw him in the bottom right, in the middle of this like creek here. So you kind of want to avoid them for now, or catch them, you know, by themselves, while you're eating to evolve. So, eating monsters accomplishes a couple of things. It gives you, you know, experience points, basically. They do also attack you as well, but, oh man, I punched that rocket out of the sky. I'm watching this in post-production. It should be pretty obvious, but, yeah, you get to evolutions by, eating, but additionally you gain armor, and I think you'll gain health as well, but we haven't actually lost any health so far. So, right now, I'm being chased by the hunters, and I'm just, moving along here. You can kind of see them down there. I'm constantly clicking the right analog stick. If you see like a wave kind of go out in an area of effect for my body, that's me smelling to kind of get a feel for where these enemies are. So it's got a little bit of a like an Assassin's Creed-y type vibe for how you like run around here. Goliath's abilities, because I haven't really talked about them so far, you only get to pick 3 or like level 3 things up when you first get started, but you get to put more points into stuff as you evolve, which you'll see pretty soon. This game's pretty short, like this match I should say, it's pretty short as you can tell. So, one of the abilities is the ability to throw a rock. You'll see that once I actually get into combat with these hunters, which is pretty much unavoidable. One of them is the leap, which I've been doing. We can evolve now if we find a safe place, so let's hope I do that as quickly as possible. One of them is the leap, which you can also use to move around, and you can kind of like parkour. And I also have a flame jet that I can spit out. So we're going to evolve here. This you know, you hold the triggers down. We were playing on 360 controllers on PCs, though, so you could use keyboard and mouse, too, if you wanted to. But there's also this charge ability, which I just leveled up. But yeah, when you evolve, it takes, like, I don't know, maybe 15 seconds for you to get to your second evolution, but it makes you much stronger, gives you more HP and more potential armor as well. So this is the power relay, like that thing just on your right over there. So we're going to come to the point where we start to get some combat, and if you're watching this and you're kind of confused about why there hasn't been any combat so far, I really can't stress enough that there's, like, the stealth aspect and the cat and mouse, that you're being hunted. They're called the hunters for a reason. There was one of them just over there. So we're trying to kind of trick them and run away from them, and we are very agile. But they have means of keeping us in place. The difficult part as the hunter is just finding where the monster is to begin with. So as we move throughout the environment as the monster, we'll scare birds, and those birds will kind of like send up a ping. Oh, that's one of the support's abilities is putting down this turret, which I actually don't know if I can destroy, which has made it pretty difficult for me. You can also you see that you know, I can knock down trees and stuff like that, so if they're watching from a distance, they can, there were birds back there that I could have scared, and then they'll get a little bit of a ping on the map for where I am. Yeah, if they're watching from a distance, they can see trees go down and say, like, oh, the monster's over here, everybody come follow me, and they could put pings on the map and stuff like that. So if we scare those birds, they'll get a little bit of an idea of where we are, which we should, you know, avoid if we want to get to max level. I'm not very good as the monster. I'm not very good as the hunters either, but the people that we played that were the best as the monster played really, really stealthily, and just basically anytime they got discovered, they ran away until they got to maximum evolution, and then they just beat the crap out of us. It's hard as a hunter to get the monster locked down, but once you get him locked down and you can get some teamwork going, it's really exciting. And it's exciting also because it's got this kind of like horror element to it of like, you know, did I see him? Did I not see him? I think we're maybe being attacked here, but for now we're just evolving. Yeah, there's the support over there, I think. So we're, because the support's on his own, I think I engage him here, and we use our flame jet. Also just our charge attack, but our melee attacks also do a lot of damage as well. It's actually, despite the fact that the players are relatively squishy, I mean, they have a numbers advantage, right? There's 4 of them. But what I figured was my strategy here is I'll just knock him down to the ground, and it has like a resurrection system very similar to Left 4 Dead, where any teammate can come by and res him unless he's been knocked down like X number of times. I think it was 3 times you get knocked down. But the more you get knocked down and the more you die, because you can come back from like drop ships every 2 minutes, you lose health permanently, so it does give you a permanent disadvantage to die. But yeah, I just used him as a distraction, basically. Killed him. That'll, you know, they'll take a second, hopefully, to deal with that, get him rezzed back up, and I can just take some time to actually get some more food and hopefully evolve here. And as you evolve as the monster, you get stronger. You can take on stronger and stronger NPCs, but as the hunter, you can actually run into super difficult, not NPCs, but AI characters as well. So, you know, you could just be walking and then be eaten up by, like, a plant that's just randomly out there, which is why teamwork is so important, because you have to be able to say, like, hey, teammate, like, shoot this plant, get me out, or, you know, help me fight this thing, or let's all just get away from it and, you know, run away, don't try to fight it instead. You can, there are incentives to fighting some of the bigger NPCs or bigger AI monsters, because you can actually end up getting extra perks out of them. It's got a little bit of like a Call of Duty style system, but you don't get more perks as time goes on. You can only have 1 active at any given time. So yeah, while I'm just evolving here, I'm just going to be running away. I don't think there's going to be much combat. Let's talk about my overall impressions of Evolve so far. It seems pretty freaking cool. I love asymmetrical multiplayer stuff, and you know, it is early. The game's been delayed until February. It was originally set to come out in October. You can see they messed up and put that arena. Normally that would keep me trapped in, but when they mess it up, it keeps them trapped in and allows me to get out until they can actually cancel it, which they probably have done by now, but we're about to evolve to a level 3. Yeah, you know, again, I'm cautious of this being like standard preview journalism where I'm just like, well, if you like it, go check it out, but here's the pre-order link, blah, blah, blah. But like my honest to God, unabashed opinion of the game is that it seems super, super cool so far. We played probably a dozen games each. I played as every single one of the classes twice. I played as the monster twice, but the first game did have a crash. It was, I think, the only major crash that happened while I was playing the game. And I was doing really badly anyway, so I'm glad I got a little bit of a longer monster gameplay that I could show off as well. But yeah, I played all of the classes. There's 4 of them on the human side, on the hunter side, I should say. I played all of the classes a couple of times, and you know, at the end of our 4 hours with the game, everybody just wanted to play more. Basically, this is the kind of game that, you know, I'll admit, we're evolving here, which is a little dangerous because they did discover me and they're doing damage right now. But I think we'll be able to get out of this evolution in time. So I went with full Fire Breath and full Rock Throw as well. Hopefully we actually get involved in some combat soon. But I may just run for the Power Relay to see if I can do some damage. But I've been hit with the Tracking Dart, as you can see in the top left, which is an ability that the Trapper has, I believe. I don't think it's the support, but it might be the support. But I think it's the Trapper. That allows them... I'm just going to try to escape here, I think. As you can see, my health is getting whittled down there. I have a lot of it. I'm very tanky, but at the same time, they can get you down very, very quickly if they know what they're doing. And I freaking hate those turrets, man. Maybe you can destroy them. But anyway, yeah. The thing I'm conscious about, like a caveat here, is that we played Evolve in literally the best context that you could ever play a game like this. We had, you know, a bunch of people who play video games and are entertaining while doing so professionally for a living in the same room on high-end PCs, all, you know, hooked up on VoIP with one another, except the monster was in like a different area, the other side of the table, so they couldn't really hear, or you know, they couldn't hear at all what kind of like strategies the other people were bringing up. So it was seriously like the ideal environment. So I'm conscious of the fact that it probably shows a little bit. Oh, I am trapped inside here. Yeah, I did get trapped inside here. I'm conscious of the fact that, you know, not everybody is going to have that kind of ideal controlled environment to play Evolve in. And it's worth noting because, you know, that's the kind of thing that can color your perception, maybe disproportionately positively. But that's really the only negative thing that I could say about Evolve at the state in which we played it. It was an absolute blast. The only thing I worry about is, you know, it's a little bit unusual. 4v1. Oh, they got me harpooned there. It's a little bit unusual, 4v1. You know, if you're used to playing games with like 3 of your friends, which is, you know, fairly standard for pretty much every online multiplayer game out there, you know, maybe you have to find a 5th one. It's just like, it's not me being skeptical. It's more just like, that's a decent rock throw. It's more just me being cautious about the fact that, you know, because it's so different, maybe there'll be a little bit of a confusion in the player base. I know that's not really the most articulate way to explain that, but yeah, playing as the monster, crazy fun, the kind of combination of like stealth gameplay and then just beating the crap out of them. I'm pretty much thinking that I'm done here, by the way, which is why I'm going to the Power Relay. I don't do a very good job of destroying the Power Relay. I do a little bit of damage to it, but they're gonna get on me pretty quickly. And really, I think the mistake that I make here is I should attack the medic first, because the medic is able to resurrect people. Sometimes, actually, so there's 2 different medics. One of them has like a medigun, kind of like TF2. I've just taken down the assault. Let's land this rock throw over here. Not so good. Taking down the DPS class is good, but anyway, there's one with a medigun that can heal units, and then there's one with something called the Lazarus device, which allows you to bring your teammates back from the dead. So after they get killed, normally it takes 2 minutes for the dropship to come in, so you have a long period of time in which you can actually like go to town on the other 3 or go to town on the Power Relay or something like that. But I think they had the medic called Lazarus that actually allows you to res them from the dead, which means until you kill that medic, you're not killing anybody. So I really should have gone to town on the medic first, but there's other things that make it difficult for the monster to really catch on to the enemies as well, like, or the hunters as well, I should say. You know, they have cloaking abilities, they have, you know, traps and stuff like that that they can send out. You'll see all that when I play as one of the hunters. But anyway, so things are not going well. I kind of just double down on trying to destroy the Power Relay here, but it doesn't really work for me, and I think at this point you can probably be pretty confident about how this game is going to end. But yeah, playing as the hunters is like a totally different style. It's almost like a little bit of a, you know, kaiju-themed Spies versus Mercs, but it's even more asymmetrical than Spies versus Mercs because of the huge number advantage, or huge number difference, and the huge, yeah, like, why am I going after the Trapper here? Now that I have a little bit more knowledge, this was like one of the first games that we played of the day. I'm like, geez, just go after the medic, man. You could do so much better. Because now that Lazarus medic is just going to bring back that Trapper that I killed. Yeah, see? And that doesn't help us out at all. And I am just going to get whittled down here. But yeah, it's even more asymmetrical than a lot of multiplayer games that come out. Like, I really love these asymmetrical multiplayer games, like you know, the Assassin's Creed multiplayer and, you know, Splinter Cell Blacklist, Spies vs. Mercs, stuff like that. This is like taking that to the next level, and it's a whole lot of fun. Not all the classes are created equal, but I think everybody's gonna have like a class that they kind of prefer. Like, weirdly enough, I kind of preferred playing as the Assault class because it's kind of boring. It's like you're just shooting the monster. That's your job, is just to shoot the monster as much as possible. I've died there. But it took a lot of pressure off me, I think, which is why I liked it. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. I'll just keep that still frame up at the end there. I hope you enjoyed this full monster gameplay here. The average game of Evolve. typically took, I should say, for us between maybe 10 to 30 minutes. Like really intense matches took about 30 minutes, but they were typically a little shorter, like 15 minutes or something like that. And keep an eye out for Evolve when it comes out. I'm not going to necessarily encourage you to pre-order or anything like that because I know a lot of people are, constitutionally not okay with stuff like that. But I had a really good time playing with Evolve, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm excited about it. Actually, like, legitimately is one of the games that I'm looking forward to most next year. I was already excited for it. I played it at PAX East, but I only got to play for like 3 or 4 minutes, so that was a little disappointing. I played it for like 4 or 5 hours, and rather than being like, oh, okay, that was fun, but I'm glad I have a break from it, I was like, no, we just want to jump in. Like, we kept being like, well, if we get our footage off the computers ASAP, we can play more games, and that's what everybody wanted to do. But do keep in mind that we played in a super controlled environment. This is not necessarily a call to action, more just my impressions of Evolve so far, which are positive, as were pretty much everyone's at the event. So I'll be back with a Hunter gameplay. I'm not totally sure who I'm going to be playing as. I'll see which game I had the best game as, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Of course, support is appreciated. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. And subscribe for more 2K stuff coming out of that event, which should be going up over the course of the next week, although I don't want to blow any stories yet. But as always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next time.